What's up, y'all? On the podcast today, DoorDash with Uber on the side. Importance of transparency, good versus bad legislation, illegal accounts, and actually a lot more. So right on the other side, guys.
Well, midnight headlight, blinding on a rainy night, Steve laid up ahead, slow me down and making no time. I gotta keep on rolling. Those are windshield wipers slapping out the tempo, breaking from the rhythm with the song on the radio.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Rideshare Rodeo Podcast. There he is. My guest today goes by the name and handle Torp. Again, I know a lot of you people on YouTube know this, but remember, this goes out to the audio podcast, so every Tuesday it gets dropped. So sometimes I gotta let people know. And he goes by the handle Torp. If you are not familiar with Torp, you will be soon. Torp, how are you?
Taking a deep breath. I'm not used to being on a actual adventure like this. This is very refreshing for me. As most people might know, this is not my usual gig. Pardon the pun.
Yeah. But so it's here we are. This is episode 556, by the way. So it took, I mean, look how long everybody seems to pass through the podcast, but here he is for the first time ever. Here we are. And we got a lot to cover tonight. We're streaming on both channels. I know we got people on both channels. So you guys, please put all questions, comments, concerns as we go along into the chat. All that I ask is that you keep them clean. Let's act like adults. Let's act like we go out in public sometimes. That's all I'm saying. And to the audio cast listeners, I'm sorry that you had to even listen to that. You guys know this. Let's before we jump into this, let's see who we got in here. I want to say some highs. We got Sean, we got obviously Torp, we got Tim Gigwise, we got Sue, Old Dirty Bravo, and Lisa, and Billy, and Rideshare Road Warrior Rick, and I'm sure there's I know there's more watching. I can see it. But you guys, thank you very much. We're gonna have a good time tonight. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. But before we do, I have to say, Torp, yes, congrats on your monetization, because that's well deserved, man.
To add to that, I built the channel. I spent a lot of time figuring it out exactly, and yes, you're right, I earned it. But what a lot of people don't know, and it's time that they heard it live. I made a comment, but I don't think one comment gets seen by everybody. Mr. Rodeo, I shared him a screenshot of me being in review for about 2 years. He says, wait, what? I said, yeah, I showed him a screenshot. He goes, well, you don't have to do that. I trust you. I sent it to him anyway. He says, yeah, I know what that is. Within 48 hours, folks, that's a 4 and an 8. I don't know, whatever. 48 hours. I became a YouTube partner because he knew what the problem was. And here I am. And so I would like to thank you as much as I possibly can without,
Yeah, no, I get it. No, I know. And, you know, here, and this is why part of the other reason I wanted to mention this to people, because I tell people this all the time, is that no matter what platform you're having issues on, I know some people have never believed me on this. They've never followed through, but I'm telling you, go to X. You will get answers. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why you have to go to X for a YouTube answer. I don't know why you have to go to X for a TikTok answer, or why don't the platforms just answer them themselves? But if you do it on X and there's a method to it, you gotta prod and poke a little bit and stuff. But, I mean, for those that don't know, I think Torp qualified to be monetized a couple of years ago. And actually set this in motion, and something got log jammed basically. It happens.
I never even heard the term looped before you said it.
Yeah, like caught in an infinite loop.
Yeah. So that was interesting for me. And by the way, just so everybody's really clear about this, Steve, Rideshare Rodeo, literally contacted YouTube partner program. I could have never done that. I had no way to do it. As you guys know, if you're not a partner, you have no ability to do such a thing.
Yeah.
And he did that for me.
I was doing it on your behalf.
I know you did. I think everybody should know
they
that.
were still listening is my point. And
yeah.
You know,
everybody should know that.
Yeah.
That should be worldwide. Everybody should know that. Steve Rodeo. I call him Steve only because I want everybody to know who I'm talking about. But at the same time, I think it's important to use channel names because there's a million Steves. There's only one Rodeo.
Okay. Yeah, I sometimes people are like, "Is it okay if I use your real name?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, it's
by the way,
one of the most common names in the world." So
I got to do this Rodeo real quick. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. U-turn delivery. Big shout out there.
That's Lisa, by the way. Used to be Rideshare Lisa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that. I remember that channel name. I do. It's been a while, but I do remember it. I do.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm sure you do. Lisa's been around for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was in the beginning of my days on the gig community.
So, you guys, I'm not going to bore you with a history lesson, but I am going to roll through something. I am going to roll through something here that I think you need to hear, and it kind of blends into what we're going to get into, and I'm sure we'll get sidetracked too. But so I want you guys to know why transparency became the most important thing to me, and why transparency alone, that one thing, it does lead to solutions and all kinds of other things. But I want you to know why. So the reason that it matters to me so much, and the reason that I fight for that first and foremost, is because I've been on the gig apps doing rideshare since 2014-15. And so about 10 years, but I've been doing lasers, lighting, pyrotechnics, staging, and sound since 1996 for 2 years as a salary employee. And then for the rest of the time as an independent contractor, traditional independent contractor. So from 98 to 2015, during that time, all I did was, when working with the laser company, is independent contractor work. So I'm very familiar with how it works. I'm very familiar with what can and can't be done, that you can tweak things out, that, that's why I really got into this, because it matters. How can you do something if they're not telling you what it pays or where it goes or whatever. But for those, so you will often hear me say most of these apps are breaking independent contractor law in every state. And even while we're live here tonight, I would challenge anybody that says not. I need you to tell me what state you live in. If potentially, I'll even if you're challenging it, and I'll even look it up in real time and show you in the labor law where it is, because independent contractor, no matter which prong test we're using, if it's the IRS Barella, any of the older tests, it doesn't matter. There are 3 prongs that you cannot get around. The first is, and this is going to blow your mind, you guys. The first is that you are free and clear of the hiring or sourcing in our what we do, offers. The company giving you the offers. You are free and clear from their direction. 2, and this is the big one. This is huge. That you are not in the same line of work primarily. So the primary income that you take in is not the job you're being hired by the app for. So let's say you only do DoorDash and Uber Eats. You don't do anything else. So all of your income is coming from DoorDash and Uber Eats. You need to prove that 75% of your, if that's how you're going to do it, if you were to be in an independent contractor situation with Uber and Uber Eats and DoorDash, 75% of the income you make doing food delivery as an independent contractor would need to come from your own sources, not from a sourcing app. I'm pretty sure almost all of you, I know some have some private clients, but in the food space, I feel pretty rest assured that 95+% of you don't meet this requirement. I mean, my guess is 99% plus of your orders come from the platforms. So that's real. So in 2017, Travis Kalanick was forced out of the board on Uber. Derek Kashashawi took the helm, and I had just started a website for rideshare drivers. I want to bring you guys around here. In 2020, on March 29th, that's when the world stopped. That's at least when the CARES Act was directed, and we were given shelter in place, stay-at-home orders. None of us knew what was up. In 2020, the first week of May, I started the audio podcast that drops every Tuesday, and that's what we're recording here tonight. And then June 2020, about a month after that, is when I met David Pickerell, the CEO and co-founder of Para, who at the time was running with, or who was running Autonomy.jobs. And we met through an NBC News article that was about the instant impact on gig economy workers from the already 6 weeks into the pandemic. And we got to talking and realized we were doing a lot of similar projects. We were into the same thing. In late July of 2020, that's when co-founder of Para with David Pickerell, Jeff Tang, found the way to get 100% transparency on DoorDash offers before drivers accept them and show it to you. If you guys remember, February 2021, in 7 months, we had gone, and I was with ParaWorks and Jimmy Thompson, me, David Pickerell, and Jeff. It was the four of us. We all had our roles. But so I was doing the ParaWorks stuff, but they were still doing this transparency. We had got up to 250,000 active users in 7 months who were using it, and 200,000 were on iOS. Yes, this was on the iOS platform if Para predates you. So that's when DoorDash took notice and gave us the first cease and desist, June 2022, so a year later. And that was the second time DD transparency went live. And again, cease and desist. And David Pickerell said, you know what, let's take this one to court. And there was a reason behind that. It was to buy us a week to get a lot of news out. But through all the years and after everything I had seen, I knew there were way too many problems with the apps. And I knew many more would come to fruition. I didn't know what they were. I just knew from what was happening. But I also knew the most important thing was and would be complete transparency. No two ways around it. Complete transparency. And now here we are in 2026. So, which as an independent contractor, you must have complete transparency. Otherwise, we get into a term that is being tossed around by lawmakers in states all over the country right now. And I told you guys that this is the year where stuff will go down by November because the midterms, and those midterms are very important to what's going on with the legislation right now. But the term that nobody wants to hear, and I've seen it popping up in more and more states, is misclassified workers. You start hearing that in your state, there's potential, and you guys can say no, but there's potential of the gig app shutting down in your state then, because they can't operate under a W-2. They've run the models. They can't operate under franchise. Nothing works. This is part of why DoorDash has been worldwide expanding. In case something bottomed out in the US, they would need to have some other market hold. Even though it's a failing market, some kind of market hold. So, and we're going to get to the chat in here in just a second, guys. Just bear with me. But I wanted to run through this. So this is the rest of it. So for those of you that don't know what happened in Colorado, I just want to once and for all make it clear. Then I'm going to let Torp weigh in here. But in 2023, the first bill failed in March of 2023. Stephanie's bill failed because she included TNC and DNC into one. We didn't know better. In August of 2023, about 5 months after that event, we had the town hall here. Tons of good people showed up. We spoke. Senator Priola showed up, and he was against the bill. He got with the bill. So one went to the Senate with Priola. for the TNC, and the DNC went with Stephanie to the House. They both won. They both have been law since. So they were signed into law in 2024 May, but they began in 2025 January. The piece that I dropped recently about Sergio and I showing you guys that the transparency is real. I just wanted you to know that when Uber sued and said we're not going to show it, it was like instant that it got shot back down. That's what we were talking about. So it is real. We have it here. We have had it here. It has disrupted the crap out of metrics, whether they show them or not, doesn't matter, because all of us here have now seen what happens. Closest to pin gets it. We know this. It's how it should be. Even if you guys don't want to know that, it's how it should be. And in January of 2025, when it started, both drivers and customers get a breakdown of everything in an email from that ride or from that delivery. What went to the driver, the customer too. What went to the driver? What was the tax? What was the fees? What was this? It has to be line itemed. I do have one thing I wanted to show you guys, because Lyft had been the only standout for a while. They were trying so hard not to do what you have to do at the end of a ride for rideshare. This is from last week in Colorado. Wait, let me zoom in on that for you. Same one though. Let me show you. When the ride ends, it tells you. It's called transparency. And in the front side, they tell you everything you need to know. Picking up here, dropping off there. It's this many miles. It pays this much. And they can't change the amount. It can only go up. If people want to tip you extra, and I can't tell you what they're doing about that, but we all know kind of how that works. But they can't, Uber Eats, if they want to allow 2 hours to pull your tip back, they still have to pay you what they showed you. So that's a loss to them. So, I mean, like, I don't know. But I guess I just needed to show that, because I don't think people understand that, like, in no other state can you show me this. There's not one other state that you can show me this. You can't say, oh, we have that. No, you don't. So
that just happened.
I mean, and that's how it is with all the apps. They're all just a little different. And I that's why I wanted, before I threw it to you, Torp, that's what I wanted to get to about the metrics at this point, is that the metrics still show up in my app. Of course, I'm not a top, I'm whatever. I'm a low percenter, on the acceptance rate. I don't care what my stats read anymore, because they don't matter. And I can Dash Now anytime I want. Before Dash Now started rolling out around the country, I've been able to, since that law went into effect. I'm talking to the day, January 1st of 2025, every one of the 15 or 17 Denver Dash zones became pink 24/7, every day, all day. So you can Dash Now anytime you want. Now I can make a great comparison. The 6 months leading up to that, I would have to schedule a 2-hour block on a Friday, 5 days out to even get it, so that I could do a live stream. And it was always gray, all 17 markets for 6 months, even on the weekends. And then the day the law went into effect, it became pink. Is that not them telling you the metrics don't matter? I can now prove it too, but I'm saying it was like the first day they showed it. Yeah, we're just going to always show that we're busy so everybody can just dash.
There's a lot to be said about this, but I'll sum it up as easy as I can. If Colorado has full transparency and the app has not shut down in Colorado, what does that tell anybody? It told me one thing. It could exist in all 50 states. I only talk about the states because I don't go UE or anything else, because I can't speak to them. But if it does work in Colorado and they have not shut the app down, then why wouldn't they have it in all 50 states? If they're losing money in Colorado due to transparency, why not have it in all 50 states? And stop the nonsense. Just stop it.
So
I don't understand that.
So the other thing is and I've told you this off camera too, Torp, is that the other thing is that I don't see as many offers. However, that is an amazingly great thing, They're not sending me $32 no tip orders and going, take this in an hour and just pissing me off and wrecking the metrics that don't matter. They might only send me 3, but 2 of them won't be great, but they might be like right at my level to do.
What difference does it make?
That's my point. So if all I see is 2, that's all in my city, that's all I can do in an hour anyway.
If somebody has platinum stats, how many times have you seen a video complain about crappy orders all day on platinum? Yes, they get bangers once in a while. They get the unicorn, but they also complain mostly about, I did all this work for what? Well, is that so different than what Rodeo just said? You still get the crap on platinum. Why not have transparency then? I mean, like by the way, I got a question for you, Rodeo. If you have if you have full transparency in Colorado, do you still get catering orders or large orders on DoorDash from time to time?
I never did, but our market is strange. People not even that don't live here know this. Like, we're some kind of weird testing market, like Instacart. I know that a lot of people might complain, but even a couple of years back, when there were a lot of cities that I was talking to around the country for ParaWorks that were like, I do good on Instacart, or even like some, I do great. I know, and I still know some people who do pretty good, but here it's all bot run. Unless you're buying bots, you don't bother. You're gonna see stacked orders for $7 and no tip. And by the way, here, that one cool thing with the transparency, when it is stacked, if you know how we all hate, oh yeah, $7 base pay because they can do, or I think it's 4 twice, so they would have to go back to their original 8. But let's just say it's $4 per order because when they split it, they can do that. So it's an $8 base pay for 2 deliveries. One thing is if one person tips $10, what do they do in other cities? They find a no tipper to stack on there, right? Well, now in Colorado with the transparency, it shows you which one tipped.
I still don't understand. I don't understand some of the points when it comes to people talking about this one thing that I can't wrap my brain around, which is competition. The competition exists to some people because they believe in the tier system, and that's the only way to get to the top. When at the same time you hear people talking about cherry picking and they're still getting the big orders. That's where I believe it comes into play, where it doesn't matter what tier program you're on. It matters what market you're on.
Oh, yeah.
All markets are different. So it's like when people say, well, competition's more important, or the tier program, or transparent. It's like, it depends on the market. I think what levels the playing field is if all 50 states and all zones had transparency, this would be a whole new ballgame. Yeah. Because I can't relate to your market, Rodeo. You can't relate to mine, even knowing that we talk like pretty much nonstop, big dog.
Yeah, no, dude. And when I was with ParaWorks, I got to luckily part of my job was talking to the drivers around the country. That's what really started that, the drivers. So I do feel like I have a handle, but I still don't know when a change is made there. I mean, like, I don't know if it's still for sure now, but Jason Pease, who's been on this podcast a few times, he's moved now to Florida, but he used to be in Boise, Idaho. Guy's great. For those that don't know, I won't get into the whole story, but Torp, I know you'll find this is pretty cool too. When the pandemic hit, you know what he did? He was smarter than everybody. Everybody. I had him on the podcast. I was so stoked. I kind of knew him before, and I was just starting the podcast. He has a camper, an RV, and he has a trailer and a Prius. He left Boise in his RV with his Prius, went to a city, parked in the Walmart or whatever, right? Stayed there for like 3 weeks because they were doing promos all over during the 2020, 2021, like signing other Dashers up. So he was just going there and signing Dashers up and showing them how to take the best offers because he was pretty familiar with this game. He knew it. So he was just like almost like in real time. You just have a cup of coffee with him. He'd tell you everything. And he'd be like, here's my referral code. Sign up. And then they'd get that bonus. If you do 100 to the new driver, you get 1,000, but he'd get 500. He was going to cities and making like 10 grand before he'd leave just on the referral codes. And then he'd dash the whole time too in that market. He'd use the Prius and then he'd use the camper to move to the next city.
I'll tell you how much crap I think is involved with this. I talk to other drivers in my market, and you guys know how I got to platinum. You guys know how I stay in gold, vice versa. You guys already know the drill on this. There's nobody here I haven't seen before. You guys know the drill on that. Here's what I do know. I talk to people that drive in line, and we get like a 5-minute span of waiting, and they have the scheduling for the large order program or the catering just like I do, and they're not even silver. How different are these markets? Completely.
Yeah.
The idea that anybody could give advice on this is beyond me.
No, yeah. And I mean, the other thing too, and I think I've told you this even, like, sometimes I get a comment from somebody going, dude, I'm watching, like when I do some live streams, and they'd email me, or they'd hear something on the podcast and email me. I get a lot of emails about the audio podcast, but so they'd email me and they'd say, I am doing everything you're doing on all 3 of these apps, and I am not getting anywhere near the same results. And I said, I never said you would, because I have never told people you will. In fact, I'm very clear to say you won't. We won't have the same results. But then, but with a few, I've gotten down to it, and I've been able to go, where do you live? They're like, Lincoln, Nebraska. Well, I can pull up that in about a minute and Google it. The cost of living in Lincoln, Nebraska is less than half of Denver. So actually, they were making more money than me.
I like that. You know what else I like? I like the fact that a new trend has started to where people are actually saying this. The big content creators, the small ones, there's actually not a difference other than views. But if you listen to somebody that's got 5 views a video or 20 a video in a day, and they're making sense and they're keeping it real, you'll notice one theme has started. They're now using the term "in my market." It used to be, this will work for you. I know not everybody did. 2 years ago, it was all tips and tricks. It was all do it this way and you'll make this much money. Now it's in my market. I love it.
Yeah. There's quite a few people, I've been around for a while, but there's quite a few people who have given the advice. Some took it, some didn't, where I've said, you really should say, in my opinion, with everything, that when you're just spitting stuff off the cuff, you should absolutely always be saying, in my opinion, even if you think it's like you're beating a dead horse. It's like a disclaimer. You need to put it out there, or else people might think you know something they don't.
There's no way to do that in my mind. There's no way to tell anybody if, for example, my wife has DoorDash. She's used one delivery. That's it. And her phone looks different than mine. And we live in the same house. It's so strange how it works. She could probably get the same order that I would have got as platinum if she just waited for it. And she's not even on silver. You can't even talk to your neighbor about a tip and a trick. There's no way to. They know what they're doing. These apps know what they're doing. It's complete manipulation of the driver. At the end of the day, that's what it actually is. But I do believe in the average, by the way. But honestly, what's the average? We even argue about the average. What is the average? There isn't one. I don't think there is an average.
No. And the other thing is, like, look, as you go down to, and there's, again, I love small rural towns. It's actually like, I'm from Michigan, and even though I grew up in one of the bigger towns in Michigan, like we would go up hunting, and our grandparents had some land up north with just a little cabin. I mean, like, we had to sleep in tents kind of thing. Like, if you know, my grandparents had a room in there and a bathroom, and us cousins would go up in the summer. We weren't really allowed in the house. Can you believe that? Like, think about today. If you were to like tell a bunch of kids, like take them somewhere in the upper North Michigan and say, all right, you can be with your grandparents, and the parents leave and the grandparents are like, all right, pitch your tents and you guys stay out there. I'll tell you when dinner is. The new kids couldn't handle it.
I still can't handle it, to be honest with you. I've been doing this for 5 years. I still can't handle it because every time I think I got a grip on it, you know what I mean? I don't. It's like as soon as I get good at the app, they change the platform. They change the TOS. They change it. They're always changing something. So that's one of my favorite things, Rodeo, is like I can give tips and tricks to even my neighbors. Nobody on YouTube, just my neighbors. And I sound smart, I look smart, and it changes next week.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. Poof. Like, what do you mean you're a top dasher? It's like they got platinum now. It's like, when did this happen? It's like that's how they keep doing it and doing it.
And
it's like,
don't forget, like when Top Dasher ended for almost all of us, and they went to the one tier, now they're on this tier. But there were some markets that, like, after all of us had lost the Top Dasher and had gone to the next thing, there are some people that there are some markets that had Top Dasher for another year. And here's why. They love it. They love to have markets where people are on Top Dasher, one where people are on the tiers, because it makes everybody fight. No, you're wrong. It's this. No, you're wrong. It's this. Again, you just said it, Torp, market to market. You don't know that person's wrong. Go live in his it's DoorDash. We can work anywhere you want. Go take a vacation to where he lives, and you tell me after the vacation.
I think it goes beyond that even, Rodeo. I mean, you're 110, but I think it goes beyond that. There might be even a higher score than 110. Beyond the market, it goes into the counties of the market. Like, I have zones here like everybody else does. I'm assuming everybody's got zones. The zones are different.
Yeah. No.
Just the zones within the market itself are different. I know them. I work them over here, and it's like, is anybody else seeing this? It's like, if I move to the market over 10 miles east, west, north, south, it doesn't matter. It changes again.
And notice they never give the warning, but this is up on yours from William on yours from William Markley. It says, congrats, Torp, on the monetization. I started watching your channel years ago, and we disagreed on a lot. Now I never disagree with you. You were right long before I believed in you, Will Markley. But before he thanks you for that, I want to say, you should Torp and I say this all the time. You should still disagree with him from time to time.
Oh, stop it, Rodeo. I'm having a good night.
No, but you even say it too, man.
No, you're right. I had to play with it. I had to play.
Challenge, dude.
Yeah,
here's my thing.
You got to, yeah.
You can be in a t-shirt or a collared shirt. I don't give a crap. Yeah. But you know what? Challenge me. Challenge Torp. Have questions. And if I'll tell you what, I've always been this way. If I don't know, I am not going to spit bullshit. I will say, I'm not sure on that. Let me find it for you. I'll get back to you. And I do. I never blow that off.
I think the reason, and by the way, now that you've said that, I'll say this to Will. I know what he's talking about because I remember that. And I like to say thanks myself because I know where he's coming from. And I was speaking on something that happened, but it wasn't in my market. It's what I was watching on YouTube. That's how I got to where I'm at. I watched everybody talk. And I do mean across the spectrum, A to Z, everybody that I at least could see. And I noticed one main theme. Everybody was giving direction with results that couldn't be achieved.
Yeah.
For everybody else. Maybe for them. I'm not saying everybody was going down the negative path. What I'm saying is I caught a lot over the last couple of years, especially the last 3. And one of those things was, we're going to have to nip this in the butt. And what I mean by we is me. And that's what I did with my channel. I was like, I got to say something. This isn't correct. This is not widespread. This is not the norm for everybody. We got to quit saying tips and tricks. That was me. That was my opinion. Enough with the tips and tricks. That I was like, this is absolutely a fail. So what are you going to do, Torp? Well, say something. There you go, Will. Yeah. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that, most of us, especially these days, I mean, like, it's one thing if you had, and I'm not even saying there was a time and a place and it was perfect. I don't know. I came on to YouTube a little later than some of you, but I will say this, that there might have been a time in 2020, 21 where there were some tips and tricks because the whole game had got flipped on upside down by the pandemic. The money was there, like how to look for what. Like my advice was just use Para. But as everybody knows, we were pushing a level. And
see, this is where you're going to make Will an honest man by telling him to challenge things, because I'm going to challenge you on something. One of the tips and tricks was that I always had a problem with yourself, Rodeo, all due respect, and a lot of other people, was no tip, no trip. And I thought, ew, that's a lot, man. That's a lot to say to a lot of drivers when they're not in your market. And it's like, that doesn't really work across the board, that simply just to say no tip, no trip. Now, I'm sure that, like, for somebody like yourself or like Nova, that's actually a thing. That actually works.
I don't know that. I'm trying to remember. Like, I support that.
Yeah.
I support that.
I know,
but I don't think I ever like really built on that much. I don't do enough DoorDash.
Right. I just thought,
you know what I mean? So, like, to me, the way I saw it was like, I always have an amount. Right now, it's $7. I don't know if I've told you that. $7 for me to turn my car on for any app, for any gig at all, once I'm parked and the car's off.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have $7 to even move it. It doesn't matter if I'm parked at the restaurant and I'm going a mile. I have to have $7. Then I'll start changing it once there's a little momentum in the algorithm and I have things I look for. But I mean, I still do believe in that. People should be tipping. However, now I've gone through things over the years, and I mean, I wouldn't, I never am pulling like a 180, but it's alive. I was talking to you about, like, Luis mentioned this. You heard it when he was on the podcast. He said when they took him back to the guy who, by the way, those that didn't catch it, Luis was at the round table, and when they took him back to the guy who codes like he said, it was one guy. I mean, I'm sure there's a team, but they took him back to the guy who says in the DoorDash app, how long till the next order. And so he told the guy at DoorDash what he thought of that. And the guy said, follow me. And he took him through like corridors of like what we didn't know to be like what are called open workspaces, cables coming down, people coding, going 90 miles an hour. And they took him down this, and he said, tell him what you just told me. And so Luis is Luis, man. I love him.
I know, but I guess I should have
but he was like, why do you put that when that's not true? And you don't have data to even work off to make that true. He called him out in a lie.
I got to ask you a question, and the entire community, the entire panel, this question, because you got a lot of people chiming in on this. I think I do. Yeah, I do too. Here's the deal. I finally get to say it again. It's been years. No tip, no trip. Some people say yes, some people say no. But let me ask everybody a question about that. What is the golden rule in gig work? $2 per mile. Is that a yes or a no? You guys can say whatever you want, and you're going to
depends on your market.
$2 per mile, right? Isn't that that's kind of a big deal, right? So what if you got a $2 order for a mile, which has no tip on it, obviously? Would you take it? I thought you guys said $2 per mile was the golden rule. Trust me, I don't do them. But isn't that a thing?
For me, that is about it. Because when I'm doing those apps,
I don't know.
I don't want any less than that. But again, Denver's more difficult to navigate than Lincoln, Nebraska. Sorry, I'm picking on you, Lincoln. I've been through. You guys have a wonderful town. I actually went and caught a Michigan State game there. Anyway, it's a nice main street.
How many people could do that though? If you're sitting in a parking lot for an hour and you see a $2 order come up, which just irks you to no end, you come out of your skin, you're bleeding out of your eyes, and you're like, yeah, but I need to wake up too. Enough with the Mountain Dew. I'll take the $2. They see me do that. Maybe I'll get something better right after it. But it is only a mile. It is $2 for that mile. I'm just saying. I mean, that the philosophy is all over the map. Tell me that these gig apps do not have psychologists helping program this algorithm. They know you're desperate. They know everybody's, even the platinum drivers are desperate. So $2 for a mile, $4 for two. I don't know. You tell me.
I love this comment, by the way. Thanks, Brian. How about strategies and tactics instead of tips and tricks? I love it.
Strategies.
That's great.
What would the strategy be, though? I mean, what is the strategy?
Here's what I do in my market. I don't know if it will work for you, but this is what I am doing.
Well, that's what I just said. Yeah, in my market, this
I'm
works.
saying, like, that's
market.
how I would choose those words, though.
Yeah.
Like strategies and tactics in Denver. Here's what I do. There might be people even in Denver who don't do this, who are very successful. But here's what I do. I don't know. There's something wrong with the term tips and tricks, in my opinion, too.
Well,
it just sounds funny.
People are still doing it, though. I don't get it.
No,
Yeah,
I mean, in any space, though. Like, it's just, do I want to deal with this guy? It's like, I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, honestly, what am I supposed to say? I do know. I mean, that would be
also.
I need to say this
to this is that, first of all, Tim, you, I know, are the captain. Tim has not even turned on DoorDash, and I think it's 2 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, but he's still saying, I still do no tip, no trip. Yeah, but you haven't turned the app on in 2 years.
Well, that was a fun debate.
But okay. So I want to move a little forward here. Here is what we got into law in Colorado. I want everybody to be very clear on this. I put a video out. Sergio and I described it perfectly, but here it is. What did we get out of it? So in Colorado, after the 23 ballot failed to go into effect in 24, but we had the 224 bills, TNC, DNC go into effect January 1st of 2025. So it's now been in effect for about 15 months. We got complete transparency on the front end and on the back end. And if you guys weren't here earlier, I even showed on the Lyft screen what none of you can see anywhere else. But we got complete transparency, and we got wrongful deactivation challenge, human, which is a big deal. And you get reactivated very quickly. So, but it also cut down on the amount of people who claimed wrongful deactivation, which I find super interesting, because I think a lot of people are like, dude, I was wrongfully. I'm starting to think like about half of you know why you were deactivated. I'm just saying.
I think that's obvious. If you get, I love that. I love that you brought that up, because when people say they got deactivated, they don't know why. I'm like, yeah, you do. Most of the time, you kind of, at least you know what went wrong on a certain delivery where it was questionable. We're like, oh God, they're gonna flag me for this. I just know it.
Yeah. And so, but as we've learned, 15 months now, once transparency and the deactivation challenge are in place, what did I tell you they did? The first day, they just lit it up for every day till now, all the time, to be able to go on anytime you want, no matter your acceptance rate. That was proof one. But so now the metrics have become meaningless on the giant apps. The other apps, I'm not on all of my, who knows what, but DoorDash, Uber, Instacart, Walmart, Spark, etc. They are all, people just don't care. And that people have woke up. They fully understand it. So I want to get into this because this is a big deal. So what makes bad legislation? I was trying to think of how to present this best today. So first and most important, I want to thank everybody who has, I see Bobby in here. He submitted for Louisiana. I will be getting back to all of you because we've already started with some more states. We've got 7 submitted, you guys. And to those people who are like, well, what does that do? Look, you know what it does? It creates a file in the offices that we send it to. That file never leaves the office. It's there as reference. But then we try and get the people on the phone. Then we move to stage 2 and get a little more pushy. If you guys know the group I hang with on Twitter, who I've brought over here one by one, Kim Cavan, John Lopez, Lisa Rothstein.
That shit was hot, dude. That shit
Karen
was good.
Anderson. These people are all the best at what they do. Like Kim is the wordsmith from hell. She'll just take anybody down. Mike Harubi, fucking awesome, dude. Guy writes federal legislation. John Lopez works with and against the Chicago Union. And he's that level. He's on both sides when it's right. He's issue by issue. How
can anybody ever debate the fact that these legislators, dude? That's crazy to me. Like this should be like the reason.
Well, there's saying that who debates that? Because I'll tell you this. It's on my channel. They're on my channel. Stephanie's been on the podcast.
I know, that's what I'm getting at. It's a real thing. It's real. Yeah,
Yeah, no, and
it's
the town
really
hall
rude.
was live streamed. You guys can
I
still
know.
go
It's
watch
like,
that.
yeah,
So,
just why isn't
and the
this
laws,
spread
you can look
across?
them up, guys.
Yeah, this is
I'm
crazy
not.
because
Why
it's
would I
like
say this? Why would I say this if you can't look it up?
well, Brian brought it up and says it's called creating a wave. And I agree. It's like, why isn't this more of a wave? What rodeo is doing, it should be a wave with the legislators in each state as well. It should be a wave. Like, all right, Colorado did it. Here's my what do they call that on a case? This is case law, whatever you want to call it. This happened in Colorado. Here's my proof it works. Hello, Mr. Legislator in Kentucky, which is where I live. I already submitted. Rodeo knows this, and I'm like, why isn't everybody like this? Like, be a part of the problem or be a part of the solution. Take a choice. I don't know. Do something.
And that's where I was going before he burst my balloon about it. As I was going to congratulate Torp because he was one of the first who actually took me up on it, man. And like that's when we really started getting to know each other pretty well because you were like, wait, what is this? And actually at first you wanted answers. I want to know what the hell this is. What's going on? What the hell? And I like that because I like it when people are willing to listen. Even if because trust me, guys, if you ever like, I don't want to email them because I'm pissed at the apps right now. That's okay. I get a lot, like as long as just don't take it out on me. Of course, I'm not going to respond if you like attack me or anybody that I know. But if you're just mad and it's coming out in your words, don't worry about it. I read that stuff all the time. But like hit me up and like, I mean, that's what Torp did. He kind of like, he put the light on me like they do in the jail. And he's like, tell me about transparency. And I did, though. I did. And I showed him the laws. And
you showed me a lot more than that, but that's where it started.
Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is.
That you're 13. I fell in love with your channel on 13. The 13 was always my favorite.
Yeah.
There was so much information in there. And it was nothing short of epic and nothing close to tips and tricks. It was like, who is this guy? I subscribed to you like 4 years ago. And then I kind of walked off a little bit, got involved with the drama, which I don't know if I still am, actually. I don't know. I don't know. But whatever. Yeah, irrelevant.
I mean, here's how I see it. You got involved in this. You did submit to Kentucky. And you CC'd it to me, which is part of the process that I tell you people they can do. Everybody so far has. You don't have to. You can just do it yourself. But by CCing me, they'll see another party's been copied on this. And that's good, I think, because that makes the office take a little more seriously. But it also sets it up for a follow-up. So at change.org right now, we're over 300 signatures. It would be great if we could get up to 500 before like May. And that should be doable.
How many have you got now? I didn't hear.
Like 300 and a couple.
Ooh, you're getting in there. You're getting in there.
Yeah, we need like 190 some more. So it's free. All you got to do is your name and email, guys. And I'll put the link below. But read it. If you agree with it, add your name. I think every one of you are going to read it and go, why wouldn't I agree with this? Duh. Because it's pretty straightforward, just things you would want. So I want to say this. DoorDash violates the definition of an independent contractor in every state labor law. That is, I'm not asking, that is a fact. And again, I challenged you guys earlier. Nobody dropped anything. So I'm assuming all of you know this. DoorDash cannot work as a W-2 or franchise model. And they have run scenarios over and over. There's no way. It fails. And that's why DoorDash acquired a failing Deliveroo in Europe. That they haven't even started it yet. They own it. They haven't restarted it in some of the countries, and they canceled it in 3 countries. But they're concerned with the legislation here. They don't know what's going to happen. I know that seems a little far-fetched for some of you, but guys, listen, if and we'll get into some of the numbers here in just a second, but after years of making noise, this is now and must be dealt with. So it was one thing when they were for years conning the drivers, all of us, right? Then they started having to show stockholders more. Stealing from the drivers wasn't enough. They needed to start doubling or getting close to doubling, now doubling the cost to the customer. Now they've done the worst thing that they've ever done, though, which is nearing 25 to 30% markup fees on restaurants, the restaurant partners. if you guys have ever worked or ran a restaurant or had even seen the books of a kitchen, your food cost is supposed to be 10 to 12% on average. If you have to add 30% to every order, you're not even near breaking even. You're not even near a minor. You're actually losing a lot on every order that goes out the door. So the partners are losing money. The customers are getting ripped off. The drivers are just whatever. I would say these, I don't know, but I would guess these days that if you come on the app, you very quickly learn the reality.
I got to ask you a question, Rodeo. I got to ask it.
Yeah, go.
As you know, just answer it yes or no, and then I'm going to finish my question. With all of the tips that were stolen over the years by the gig apps, we can name DoorDash as an example. With all the tips, with all the fines, with all the resources that they spent with the lawyers, of course they're not going to want this to be a W-2 model. They would lose so much money.
It doesn't.
If we were employees, you know what I mean?
Here's the one reason, dude. There's probably about 20 we could bullet point. I'm not kidding. I've been through this with Mike Ruby, but the number one that Mike and I always put at the top of the list is churn rate or turnover. I mean, dude, there are some people who work for DoorDash for an hour. Now you can get unemployment. Dude, this is why I'm telling you, like, under no circumstances does a W-2 work. Like,
can
people
you
don't
imagine
come to DoorDash and work here for 3 years and go, you know what? I'm going to move on to better things as an employee.
But can you imagine DoorDash paying drivers an hourly wage plus mileage and not being able to still tip?
And don't forget, and paying into the system on every driver, which Tony Hsu says is over 8 million right now.
I'd say, goddamn.
Like, I mean, like, we're talking about like unemployment insurance and like that kind of stuff. Like, he would have to pay in on that. I'm telling you guys, it's not even close. They would be out of business. DoorDash is losing. DoorDash's stock is tanking. You might see little upslides. We've been talking about it a lot on the podcast. Yeah, it comes up. But I mean, overall, like, look at when we pull up to 6 months and the 1 year, like, it's bad, guys. Like, they're down. They do have their.
How do you think, Rodeo, they're staying alive at this point? Is it just more loans, more investments by people that don't know any better, or what?
I still think they pull. Well, a lot of it's just the technology lies that they feed to the investors.
That's what I figured.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know how the investors keep falling for it. I think there must be a way that investors look at this and go, okay, like, basically, like, maybe they do know it's a lie, but they think, am I going to be able to get in there for enough time to make some money and then short it or hedge it or whatever? Not like not daily hedging kind of thing, but like, do they see like a arc where they can make some money on lives?
They're basing this on the idea of some sort of a boardroom meeting, of some sort of investors meeting that's like, don't worry about what we're doing right now. We are the future with self-driving cars. That's what you're investing in. Do you think maybe it's something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you invest in something when you haven't made money in years, other than to say, we are the future, we have the market share, DoorDash speaking, and we are doing self-driving cars. We got these little robots that are going to get ran over by, big trucks, whatever, and kids are going to get hit, and all this other stuff's going to happen. But they don't talk about that. The future's coming. Everybody knows it. AI is a thing. Do you think that that's the speech the investors are hearing?
I mean, Tony Hsu took, this, he when Marco was on, he took all the people that came to the round table outside and showed them a dot, and it was raining, and he didn't even bother to try and like have somebody move it first or whatever, because I know that some of you might think that they do. They're having major issues in the rain. This was in San Francisco. They basically won't even go. So when he took them out to show them, it was raining, and he told them, he goes, these things are nowhere near road ready. We're just playing with a couple. He goes, they don't even work in the rain. He said it.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Dude, that is, you guys, that is more than a tell. That is saying this is a piece of crap toy that cost 400 times the parts we put on it. It's you guys have seen it before in Toys R Us. I know they went out of business, but whatever's like it now. It used to be looking like a Flintstones car. Kid got in, and that's what these dots look like, man. I don't know. they don't work in freezing. They don't work in rain. They don't work in dark real well. It's the same story as Waymo. It's just all lies, dude. I mean, one day, a lot of people come on this podcast and say, I agree it's not tomorrow, but one day. I'm like, sure, one day. But what are you talking about one day? Because we've been lied to that it's the next year by Uber alone for years. So no. And I play enough videos that are comical of the robots. You've seen these things in the Waymos. They're a joke.
Not a funny one, though.
No. But so... okay. We still have a decent amount here. So I want to run through this real quick. So I want to talk about 2 off-brand apps. Both of which I've had the honor of working on for a while, and I've been through a lot with these. Curri, number 1. I have been a Curri driver since April of 2021. You guys know that for SUV and smaller, I don't know. We'll find out this year. But like last year, even like I've been to a lot of their corporate events. I know all of their people. I've met with all of them over the years. And there's a couple that even live out here in Colorado. But for years, I was the driver under SUV and undersize with the most nationwide. So I was doing some stuff with Curri. I gave a lot of insights to Alice and the team, and I've had the CEO on a couple of times on the podcast. I have his phone number. I do communicate with these people, and I do give them ideas. They actually put me on their Vine, which is a company thing. So when they have a company question, like to this day, they don't use it as much, but I get it too. It comes on my phone. Like that's Curri. And I've talked about that so far. And some people say, dude, I'm on Curri in my market and it sucks. And we go back to market, guys. Listen, Curri was built by the CEO. And his first interview here, he said, where you'll find Curri right now is in he goes, let me just make it easy. Any city with an NFL football team we're in. So my point is, he made it very clear what the first cities were. Huge cities with NFL teams that were growing. So if you do live in a smaller city, yeah, it might not only just be a pay difference, you might not see the orders. Here we see tons. The pay changes. It's got an AI feature. But I want to get to Expedite here. Because Expedite, I have worked with both Chris's, Chris Heffernan, the CEO and founder, and Chris Barnes has been on the pod. They've both been on the podcast several times. I think Chris Heffernan twice, Chris Barnes 4 times now, maybe 5. And one of the episodes was both of them. So I want you guys to know that 3 features, and Jersey Man sent you something.
I would like to thank him. Thank you for pausing for that, Rodeo. Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Jersey.
So I want you guys to know something. Some of you don't know this, but I talk to Barnes and those guys all the time on the phone, like several times a week. Chris knows I can be a hard hitter. And I'm going to tell you something. I've pitched them probably 20 ideas, things I think they need to do.
So you should have been at the round table, Rodeo.
But this is Expedite. But 3 of them they've integrated, and they're big ones, you guys. The pause feature, that was me. I even said you got to call it the Steve feature. Between him and I, they do. That's because of me. I warned Chris because Chris Barnes asked about transparency law in Colorado. And he was saying, he was kind of checking in with me because he knows I follow that. It's hard to follow all this stuff nationwide. And he said, we're good, right? I'm like, you're probably not even on their radar, but trust me, man, like anybody that I've heard talking, the lobbyists, the other side, whatever, you guys are as transparent as an app can be. You show every detail that I need. You give me 5 minutes where it's just me looking at it. I can do anything I want. I can decline it. I can accept it. Cool. So what I told him was they used to have a thing called On My Way, where once you were leaving for the delivery, you had to slide a slide bar called On My Way. I said, you might want to get rid of that. And he said, why? And I said, because that right there breaks number 1 in the labor law in every state. You are exercising control over the independent contractor. Guess what? He removed it from the app. He thought, you're right, dude. He's like, that's what Chris and I do. We brainstorm. We make sure that he's up to par and he's doing what he should be doing. But so, which the
I'm waiting for that next bullet, baby.
and then the add a picture after complete, which comes out next week. You guys are going to
That's the
appreciate
bullet.
that.
There's a bullet. That's a bullet right there. There's the bullet.
So
Go.
after the delivery's done, you're going to be able to add a picture. That was my idea. I told Chris that. We had a big discussion about it. And in fact, we did it on not the last time he was on the podcast a few weeks ago, but the last time was, I think it was September, October of last year. That episode is where I brought it up. And he's like, that's a great idea. You could see him writing it down. I don't need the credit. I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to point out to you guys, I talk to these companies in a way where I'm trying to like not say you're an ass and you got to, I'm trying to like help. I'm trying to tell them what we want. I know focus groups do this too, but I'm trying to tell them also where you might be crossing some lines. That On My Way, I was talking to Sue in the chat about this, and that because she actually said, I don't like that was removed. That's weird you had that removed. And I said, well, I didn't have it removed. I had it removed because they'd be breaking independent contractor law. So, or I told them they should. I didn't have it removed. They decided to based on what I told them. But she said she liked sliding the On My Way when she was on her way. But what I told her was, here's the problem. Let's look like 3 years into the future. They might have some of these lawsuits like Seattle and other things where it's, it's like during these 2 years, Expedite has to pay $10 million for the time the drivers were slid on my way until the time they got at the pickup. Can you not see that being a lawsuit? I could.
Where do we start with the lawsuits, for crying out loud, though? I mean, my God. There's so many things that are going on here. You know what I mean? How many moving parts can you guys call out to be a lawsuit at some point? You know what I mean? I'll give one example to what Roddy was just talking about as lawsuits would go. You're driving down the road. Uber tells you, we need a photo for your next, before you can get back home, we need a photo. You got to stop to do that, but they'll send you one after another, one offer right as you're driving, and you got to accept. It's like, or the client's like, wait a minute, what? So it's okay for me to like do an order while I'm driving at 70 per se in the legal manner, but I got to stop to take a photo and verify my identity, which DoorDash doesn't do. At least not here, they don't. In my market, they don't do identity checks. I'm like, that would explain the parking lots, 16 cars deep, exaggeration, but there's a lot of cars, and nobody's speaking the language. Just saying they're not. I mean, I'm just keeping it 110. And it's like liabilities. Yeah, that's a pretty broad spread right there about There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
There's a ton of them.
That's why again, back to transparency. That's why the transparency thing, that's the theme of tonight. Because if they're going to face 100 problems, the apps daily anyway. Be transparent. Why is breaking labor law why is that fun for them? Like I've suggested things. I'm not saying that it might be the answer, but I do break down actual ideas. I've suggested do a cap on drivers on any given night. Don't have metrics so that they can just get on. Some of you platinum drivers might say, if there's a cap, and I would still say that cap would be allowed to be 140% of the saturation level they think they'll need. And then it could be raised, but it would be something they've done this with taxis before. And so my point is, if a market needs 700 drivers on a Saturday night, and they say that the city says they're going to allow them a little bit higher of a cap, and they make it 1,000. Why not take the, so that you're allowed to have 1,000, you're only going to need 700. If it needs to change, it will. If there's events, if there's football games, basketball games, concerts, anything like that could all be taken into relevance. But what I would rather work under that, 1,000 drivers on the road when only 700 are needed, as opposed to 3,000 on the road and nobody can earn anything worth a damn that night. I'd rather work with 1,000 and fight for that position. And if I don't get one of the slots, then, or I don't get on that night, at least I'm not going to get out there and make $20 for 8 hours. I'd rather be in a system that allows everybody to earn some money that's on that night.
So what you're saying is if they bring the number of drivers down, they could be at a level playing field. Like everybody could have the opportunity. Like instead of having 1,000 drivers, you're bringing it down to, I don't know, we're just making it up 200 drivers. So if those drivers are serious and they've got their numbers up, they know they're going to come and everybody's going to get a fair share.
You don't even need the numbers up. I'm saying like, here's how it would work.
All right.
Here's how it would work.
All right,
so it's Friday at 6 p.m., right? I just got home. You're in the same market as me. You got on at 4, right? As long as you stay on, you're on. You're good. Okay. Now, if I try and get on at 6, it might say all full. They're at their 1,000 cap, but I can check every minute because if somebody turns off DoorDash to go to Uber Eats, that slot just opened up. This is a real time thing. So everybody that even for blinks on a like, oh, I'm off. Oh, I'm going to do an Instacart. I'm off.
Oh, okay.
It opens a slot. Boom, 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 boom. And that person that went off DoorDash to go do Instacart now is going to have to find themselves trying to get back on after the Instacart. They're not going to be guaranteed that spot. Or you could find yourself saying, I'm just going to stick with DoorDash and only do DoorDash tonight. So
if they do that, then what do they do with the $2 offers? Is my question.
Well, so here becomes the thing though. If they do that, let's just, we don't need to run actual numbers, but I just used a 700 are needed, 1,000 they'd allow. Think of just that number. And then 3,000 without any kind of like cap are on, and they're sending orders to everybody. If you are only start having to send the orders to 1,000 people instead of 3,000, trying to push that damn $2 offer out that they know sometimes goes through enough times where they'll add a little, you could actually, they would save 60 to 70% on data because you're only going to have a third as many drivers. You could make every order a base $5. Period.
I see what your point now. That's
because the other problem is when you have 1,000 drivers on, those drivers are going to really fight to be on those nights, and they're not going to take the $2 no tip ones. So they're going to have, that one's just going to keep getting cold and not delivered. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, DoorDash doesn't want that. They would rather just pay $5, not have to, like, why does DoorDash want to send out a $2 no tip order 70 times before they add $3 and resend it to you?
So what you're saying is this would be more like an average of what's going on in their actual system. Instead of like somebody decided to pay $30 tip, that $30 tip, wouldn't that be taken from one driver and spreading in the love to the other drivers to make sure everybody's kind of like getting the same pay? That's where I get a little confused.
No, this would just be, we need to look at the bottom line for DoorDash and Uber Eats and all these gig apps. I mean, Rideshare back in the day was they wanted a driver every block because they wanted to make sure that if Lyft had one every 2 blocks, that Uber had one every block. Just in case that one block that Lyft wasn't on got a ping, they got it. Yeah. So they love the oversaturation game, but now the numbers aren't big enough to make it work. Like there aren't the bangers. Guys, don't get me wrong. I'm sure some of you could produce a banger order to me of some sorts.
God knows they can. Yeah.
But there's not a ton of them. I think anybody who doesn't agree with that maybe just hasn't done this long enough. But it's not the same game. It's not. But again, like, why not just have the 1,000 on there? Send out less data. You still have to get the food. You have to expedite that food as quick as you can. That is the game. So you don't have time now to screw around. So just up the pay, quit paying the data, and just, and I was also saying, I've also had an idea about bid on service. Let it come, because they do this, what's called drip pricing now. They've slowed down the progression of the pages for the customers when you're ordering, so that it's a psychological thing. People have studied this. It's called drip pricing. That if you add time and make it wait, that by the time you get to that last screen, even if you're like, screw this, it's so much, you'll order it anyway because you're so sick of the time you've put in.
Do you think that would bring down the price for people ordering?
I don't know where they go with that. I think that at some point if they want to make that as much money as they do on every order, I do think that we're headed for, in many states, I think we're headed for having to use menu prices, which I think is a must.
Because that was a question I had for you, but we never got there. I thought with all the things that you talked about that made sense, I have to go back to the customer thinking, are they going to like pay less? Because if they're still paying,
they got to
the
find a
price,
way. But
yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one because we're talking about the driver and the app. What about the customer?
Well, I've noticed tricky things they do, like right now in all these.
I don't know.
In all these new, I don't know. I've noticed.
A tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah, no, it is.
It is fair. It's fair to say it's a tough one because it is. You can't predict what they're going to do because they're already paying too much. Will they continue to pay too much? Because they're not going to see any difference. The driver will. Maybe the investors will. But what are they going to give a
Well, I was
care?
going to say that I
know.
do know that, like, let's say that like I'm a customer and I'm not a daily or a weekly even user, but I'm starting to see, damn, dude, that's really getting expensive. They again, the algorithm works on the customers too. So when you go in there, it's gonna, like, if the last 2 times you felt like, damn, that was a lot of money, and you don't use it much, and you're in there again, they're gonna see what you ordered the last 2 times, and one of those 2 places they're gonna give you a BOGO, buy one get one free, right? Yeah. And that's so fair. Therefore you're going, oh, well, on this one, I'll make back the losses I've made on the other ones, but all the fees are still going to be in there. But then here's the play on those. Whenever those specials come up, even for like a McDonald's in a big area anyway, I can't speak for smaller towns. So in my city, I've said this before, there's a McDonald's here. If the person ordering is a half mile away across the street, I should be going to that McDonald's to get it. So on a BOGO type offer, I might find myself driving 14 miles to the airport, 14 miles back. And the customer has to watch me in the app do this, knowing, like, dude, there's a McDonald's a half a mile from the house.
But how would that affect things? How would that affect things like Dash Patch?
Well, no, but affects the par. Every McDonald's has to do so much volume a month, or else they lose their placement on the app. So, like, if you have 3 McDonald's, if A location and B do great, but C doesn't, you're going to start pawning off all of them to C to try and raise their par.
Oh, no, I'm with you, GigWise. It is a great idea. How do we implement it? That's what we're discussing. How would it work? Like for the driver, the customer, and the gig app. Rodeo's plan implemented is actually the best idea I've heard. We're just questioning, like, how could it implement it? How would that be a thing to implement? Like,
well, because also, I know that when we first talked about this, I know you mentioned this. Let's also talk about their losses in terms of, like, well, we drive people to the polls, or we do this, we give free meals, we help during hurricanes. This is DoorDash now. Okay, so those kind of favors have run dry. Even if you're doing it, the government's under too much pressure, because now the businesses, customers, and drivers are all giving the legislators a hard time. That's why we're building here. But wait, what was your question? You just asked me something that was really important too.
Who?
You.
How would they implement it? That's the last thing I think I asked you.
Oh, so I wanted to get to, wouldn't a city rather flaunt the fact that, especially these blue cities, wouldn't they rather flaunt the fact that they have a third less drivers on the road?
Yes.
Wouldn't they rather start working with environmental campaigns, which we've seen them try, but it just never works?
Dual yes.
But this would be one that instantly would show we're actually trying to care about the environment. Now, also, again, I keep going back to, if you have 3,000 on and none of them can make, and all of them end up at home at the end of the night and go, I didn't make shit, dude. That sucked. My night sucked. Like, why not have 1,000 and let them make, they're still not going to become millionaires, but let them make enough where they are like, all right.
That sounds
because,
so
okay,
easy.
Look at. Well, because I'm going to put it in the bar perspective. When I was owning and running bars, right? if I had 3 servers and we had a baseball game and somehow the game got rained out, right? You know, they put the tarp on and then they called it at a point and said, we'll have doubleheader tomorrow. And people came out for a bit and then they left. And I knew I wasn't going to need the 3rd bartender that night or the 3rd waitress. I would say, hey, you know, obviously the main 2 shifts get their choice or whatever, but the one who's the floater coming on last, I basically would go to them and say, hey, listen, you have the first choice, but one of you's cut. And dude, every time somebody would volunteer, I'll be cut. Like they just knew I'm not going to make money tonight. So let me get out of here.
I get it. And it's good. But I have another question for you. Another example, guys. These are not numbers that anybody can find on the internet. This is an example. You got 1 million drivers and you're going to implement Rodeo's plan, which is a good idea. How do you take it down from 1 million drivers to 200? What happens to the other 8?
Yeah.
They just fire them, block them, deactivate them. What do they do?
No, but okay. I mean, it's coming up here, but when we get to the illegal accounts, I mean, the bottom line is
drivers going? Where are all those drivers going? That's what
you mean. Like, how are they going to earn? Well, my question.
No, like if you go from 1,000, I said I don't even know what I said. I think it was 1,000. 1,000 drivers down to 200. Where do the 800 drivers go?
Are you talking about if they capped an area?
Yeah. Where do they go? What do they do with the drivers? Deactivate them?
No. They can try and get a spot any night of the week. Again, it's Saturday night. Let's say that the first time I open it, it says no slots, but I know that on Saturday in my city, it's 1,000 people can be out. I know I should just keep checking every minute.
Isn't it easier to look for a red map?
I'm saying, if you really want to work that bad, you're going to keep checking. I know people who do that now. Who do that now. So of course they're going to keep checking. People will fall off. Some people will work, need to go out that night. Some people will have an event. Some people only want to work an hour. Some people aren't making enough money that night. They go off. You'd have constant fluctuation and you would have real chances. And eventually most of the people on would be the people who really want to work.
So no scheduling.
No, all of it. Metrics, scheduling, gone. You just turn the app on, and if you can go, you can go.
Boom. Okay, kind of like Dash now.
Because that way more fits the independent contractor rule in the labor law, by the way, guys. If you're curious, something like that, because that's what they did with taxis in many cities, is exactly this.
No, I like it. I'm just trying to figure out how to implement it. I'm like trying to. It's coming. You're doing a good job, by the way.
I mean, again, I don't know, dude, but I do talk to lawmakers about this. Sometimes some of my ideas I don't bring to the lawmakers until I like really spit them out a few times. But I at least tried. This one I felt like it was grown up enough, so I've started presenting it to people. Like, it's an idea, guys. And if you know, because here's
what's happening. You're actually presenting solutions, which is something that it needs to be done. You need to present solutions, and that's a solution.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is.
You've mentioned this on your videos before, food delivery. Technically, and Nova, what's up, Nova? I see Nova says most gig workers.
Hey, Nova, how you doing, boss?
You could not be more right, Nova. I mean, that's a fact. In fact, I don't have it in front of me, but it was over 90% are part-time. It's like 92 or 91, but over 90% for the 2025 stats were part-time. And by that, I think it was 16 hours. You guys, I don't have it in front of me, but I already did that piece on it. What I need to find out now, because again, some of you guys give me great questions. Was that 16 hours a week part-time based on active time? I don't know. I need to find out. So again, I don't use active time. I think it's bullshit and whatever, but I did understand the question. But you mentioned, Torp, how even food delivery drivers aren't they have no training. And I'm not saying it takes training, but they don't have a certification to handle food. You should have to do this, guys. Like, you should have to. I mean, like with Uber Connect, you guys, like John Dash Theory, you guys remember him? He did an Uber Connect when we were doing Roundtable. And he did one, and people came out and loaded boxes in his trunk. He had to take it to the post office, walk in, and he had to sign that thing saying there is no bombs or liquids in this. He doesn't know. Some people just threw some boxes in his fucking trunk.
I never understood the idea that any of us, I don't give a shit the certification, we're allowed to work for a third party, which would be the app, and say, deliver this consumable to that person with absolutely no supervision and no gloves. And we all know what some of these drivers do in those cars. It's like, are you kidding me?
And I'm not saying a food certification.
What the hell?
I'm not saying a food certification is going to solve everybody's problem. Like we saw that video.
I was going more to the point that we don't have it.
Recently.
I was going more to the point that we don't have food certification. At least I don't. I don't have any of it. I don't have.
Right, but like when I ran bars and restaurants, yeah, we did. I mean, you didn't have to have your cooks do it that day, but like within a few months, and they had to be recertified. You know, you just had to be trained. Like, hey, can you leave chicken out all night, you dumbass? No, like,
all right, dude. I still don't get it though. Like with Raising Cane's, they don't seal the bag because you got to red card it or pro card it, whatever. And it's like it's fully open. It's like,
yeah.
That's like, what is going on here?
I mean, it's the same.
The customers don't even know about this.
It's the same thing as the liquor. And we've been through this in every state so far that I've talked to since I brought it up. We're like, let's look at your state. We haven't seen one that doesn't require it. You got to have tips training or something equivalent.
I have to check myself on alcohol deliveries every time you bring that up. It boggles my mind what the liability is that I'm willing to accept for a would-be $7 order to keep a tier program status when I could be having my ass sued and handed to me. And the gig app would have absolutely nothing involved with it. I'm like, what am I doing? McDonald's pays as much as these deliveries. Why are we doing alcohol? I mean, you are risking everything, especially when the customers, well, most of them, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but those customers, they either don't have their ID, they're argumentative, or they're not tipping to begin with. And you're like, yeah, let's do this order. I can't wait to get my catering order after delivering this illegal order. I mean, they're making, in my mind, in my opinion, they're making a lot of drivers liars, and it's not a good thing.
You know, it's a good thing we have Nova in here tonight, because if you guys remember when Nova was on, listen, we have transparency in Colorado. No other state has it, right? But Nova had to look at, again, it shows the difference of a market. In Virginia, because they have such heavy laws, he had to upload his alcohol training documentation to be able to do it on DoorDash. Same app we all use, but they didn't give any of you guys a warning or a demand. He'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you couldn't even take the first one until you uploaded the document. So why isn't it that way in every state? Damn it!
I have mine, but mine's not called. It's a alcohol. It's not a license to deliver it. It's called something else. I haven't looked at it forever because I realized it was garbage. But I thought to myself, they said I had to renew it. Here's the point. They said I had to renew it. And every time it says it has to be renewed, I don't renew it. And I still get the offers.
Yeah, 100% depends on what market you're in.
I still get the offers, and I'm not certified.
Wait, I want to understand this, though. Tennessee law states as long as the receiver is 21, then liability is transferred to them. The receiver being the person delivering, or the person that you're delivering to when you're not trained. Yeah, I know, but I'm wondering if I'm just making sure that's what he meant, though, because if you're talking about the responsibility from you serving it to somebody transfers when you hand it to the customer, no, it doesn't, because I mean, it only does if it is the customer and if they're 21. What if it's their younger brother? I've said this many times. I say this because I had a lot of older friends who the older brothers gave them IDs when they got to college. Hey, here's my ID, so you can get some booze and stuff. What if that younger brother gets it and he's 19 and he has a party at the house and he orders booze and he has an ID that looks just like his older brother that's 2 years older? You're not, if you haven't taken tips and stuff, you have no idea on some of the second and third round checks you can do to really try and catch them. But if it looks like them and whatever, you're going to scan it, you're going to go. If they have a party and somebody dies in the backyard in the pool, and I know this seems very extreme, but it happens. It happens.
With all these questions on the table, like you're talking about, Rodeo, and the chat's talking about, what is the point of even doing, like figuring any of this out for the pay? That's why I've never understood. The pay is no different than delivering a hot dog. Pardon the pun.
I think that people just, Torp, I always go back to that. I believe many people think if it's in the app, it's legal.
I know, that's the problem.
I mean, that really is, I mean, because like, again, why where Nova is, are they like, dude, you can't deliver alcohol till you upload the document. But in all of us, they'll keep pushing it even. You do an update, they'll be like, you should turn alcohol delivery on. I had it off for a reason because it's like, I'm not legal, dude. You know, that's here. Look, I had said to people, would you pay for your own background check that wasn't checker, fingerprint, everything, if it applied to all apps? And every app took it, and every year you had to pay $100 to get on this system. It would be like a token, and it would just like you might have to be on a waiting list still. That has nothing to do with it, but it would show you have the token, you have the real background check.
Yeah, I'm with Jersey. Yourself. I'm with Jersey Man. Sorry, Rodeo, but I'm with Jersey Man. As it popped up, I got to cover it. It falls here this way in Kentucky too, Jersey Man. It falls on the driver here.
Yeah, first, I have never heard of any state where. Maybe I misread that because I've never heard of a state where once the person has it, because that's the problem. Is it the person?
Yeah, we have to check sobriety and all that. It doesn't matter if they're 21 and they take liability. If you serve somebody that's already drunk, the liability is on the person that served it.
Yeah. And I guess what, again, tip certification, you might walk out of there and go, dude, I didn't learn that much, but you'd be shocked. You learned a few things that you might not have known. And a lot of them are like these second and third and fourth deep checks that you can do on an ID real quick that are just quick questions. If they can't answer them smoothly, something's wrong. So you guys don't know any of those. You don't know any of them. You're not certified.
I don't know why we even mess with it as drivers. I would have always thought there would have been a base pay to support the liability.
So here's my thing. We're our independent contractors. They expect us to be cert. So here's where it is. They expect you to be certified in every offer they're giving you. Like here, we have a liquor offer. And if you're like, I'll take it. They expect you, Torp, are certified with tips and you're all good because you're an independent contractor. You know the rules. You have to be certified. They don't have to tell you. But that's why I would like this token system, because in there you could also add things like these food handling. What did he call it? Serve safe. Nova called it serve safe, that you know how to handle food. Alcohol delivery. You've taken full tips class and that you understand the risk, even that you're still going to be under the risk, but that you understand it. But you have to have these certifications on this token. If you don't, the apps can't allow you to do that work. How hard is this?
It's not hard. I don't understand why it's even debatable, to be honest. I've never understood it. Even when I like, oh my God, I'm going to make all this money. And I signed up for it to get certified per DoorDash and all that. I'm like, no, wait a minute. I'm liable. That's where it stopped. I didn't even go down this road of debate. I'm liable. In the state of Kentucky, I'm liable. Period. End of story. Debate's off the table. I'm like, liquor license is one thing for a liquor store. I'm not dealing with a fine, guys. I'm not dealing with any sort of anything. I'm like, I came out here to make a couple bucks in a short period of time as I can, and now I got to deal with the legal matter. No, I'm good, man. I'm just good. Thank you very much. I'll pass.
100%. And we all know what EBT was. EBT was a study of how low of pay we will take. That was we were lab mice. I always said, don't do it, guys. Cause we saw, I mean, like Josh B sent me a photo from Philly. EBT there is $11 an hour. You know, look at what you showed the algorithm. You showed them you would take $11 an hour for active time. That's not even hourly. Are you telling me that in an hour of active time, as much as I hate the term, if you can't make $11 on the active time that you're doing, go get a W-2 tomorrow.
Facts.
I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying, guys, like, or do it part-time because something's wrong. And it could be
being
market.
honest is being a dick, then I'm a dick too. I mean, just be honest about it. There you go, Rodeo. I mean, that's a 110.
And again, it's my opinion. You guys can try and think it's going to change, but I've watched many people go down the road of, I can change this. It's not going to change.
See, you owned a bar. I worked in one full-time for 3 years. What I can tell you is this: liability is a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you're a bouncer, a bar back, a bartender, even in the parking lot directing traffic.
Oh, yeah.
Let alone a driver delivering how much alcohol. And like these drivers aren't checking the ID. They're just scanning the back. Hell, most of these drivers don't even understand what it means, especially the you-know-whos. The people that aren't trained to do this and can't speak the language. They can't even read the ID. I've done it twice. I know what I'm talking about on that one. They can't speak English when they bring the I can't read the ID. I don't have an interpreter for the ID. I'm like, what am I doing out here? What am I doing out here? I shouldn't be doing this.
So Nova, most people have lost earned by time that I know of anyway. But somebody did tell me, and I was like, no, it's not there, but I actually did see it. So he said, look for a sand dial in the bottom corner in the app. And I hadn't even thought of it. I touched it. And it did talk about it. It said EBT is no longer available in your market. They haven't removed it from the app, but it's still there. And when you touch it, the person who commented was right. And yes, it does. It will show you if you do have it, but my market, it's been removed. It's just still in the app and says it.
I don't even have it anymore.
Yeah, but that's what I said too. Do you have a little hourglass in there in the bottom?
Oh, right. That makes sense. I didn't even. That's what that is.
That's what I did too. I was like, are you sure? I'm like, I don't think I have it. He's like, you might. He even said you might not. It might be gone. But touch.
See, there you go. You listen and you learn.
Yeah,
that's what the hourglass is.
Yeah, that's what I know, right?
Why is it an hourglass?
I was like, bro, I was the same way. I was like, why have I never touched this? I was like,
kidding me? Right
I never even. I just thought it was so close to. It was so close to the that timing of how long the next order is.
These things
I thought that's what it was the hourglass of when it says, orders are coming in every 5 minutes. Estimate. I thought it had to do with that. I was like,
oh, shit. Well, the time part makes sense on the hourglass, I guess. But why not just anyway? Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. I never said I was perfect. That's what that is. I never clicked on it.
So we got 2 more topics. Last one, be a little careful with, but the biggest problem in 2026 is illegal accounts. I mean, I always fight for transparency, but this has gotten out of hand. Those of you that have seen my videos know, like, wow. Like, I don't even know what to say. I have seen things like I've seen things for years. The Facebooks that have been around, and dude, there are so many. I have ruined I hate Facebook, so I don't care. But I've ruined my Facebook algorithm because now it knows I go to Marketplace and search for these. And I do. Instagram is all the bots. So if you say that I get crappy Instacart orders on a post, you will have, hey, check out Moody Bots or Moody Trolls or this or this or that. And it says, go to Instagram, find these people. That's where they sell bots. Facebook sells accounts, but mostly they're rental accounts. I was telling Torp this. I was trying to break it down a little. When I first told you guys, I said at 150, I was seeing 150 to 2 and then 700 to 9. And I said I didn't really understand what the difference was. I did know that the 700 to 900 ones had a lot more viewers and people seemed to have better feedback on them. But what happened was,
I'm listening. I gotta use the boys' room, but I'm listening.
Yeah, you're good. So I'll wait for him to get back. I'll see where you guys are at here. Wait. Got a base pay raise. What are you talking about? You did? Okay. That's crazy. So, okay. Biggest problem though, Facebook, tons of them. The $150 to $200 ones, those are the rentals. How they work is you buy these accounts from these people. You give them a ton of information that you should never be giving anybody. And they take out the $150 to $200 a week that you make on the app, which gets deposited into their funds. And then they deposit after they remove what they're taking every week to you. Crypto, apps, Cash App. They'll even do direct deposit to your bank. This has gotten out of hand. Instagram is all the bots for any of them. That's where you go. But TikTok is the real newcomer. TikTok is the crazy ass. Are you serious? Illegal accounts. I mean, like they are doing live streams, you guys. In case you haven't caught them, I'll pull them up while Torp's coming back. But I want to show you guys. Like I only have 5 in here. I've showed you guys many, but we even have many more. Luis sent me 2 more last night. 2 more lives that were going on last night, real late. But look, this guy, he goes on TikTok. This one is live every night. Every single night he sells accounts. Tons of them. This guy sells Amazon accounts. But what I learned about this guy is he actually has everything. He just puts Amazon. And then if you're like, oh, you got Amazon in Denver? Like you might see it here. And he's like, no, but I got Instacart, DoorDash, and Uber Eats. You want one of those? They can give you deals. They do breaks. Like if I was seeing some of them, like there was a Spark DoorDash combination that was $1,000. But if you bought 5 accounts, it was $2,500. So they were giving you half off if you bought 5. Come on, dude. Like these are going on. And my point is DoorDash knows about it, but this is on the TikTok platform. And we're not talking about posts in a marketplace or on Instagram. We're talking about people like Torp and I right now going, hey, you want some shipped accounts? Let's go. We just need everything of your information. We need all your parents' name, your social, birth certificate, blah, blah. They need everything so they can rip your life off. I
think maybe that there is some continuity here between what you're talking about and what you're showing. And some of the gig content creators that seamlessly go through accounts.
Yeah. So I'm going to do more on that, obviously, but this is kind of what I wanted to, we're over the hour and a half and coming up on 2 hours. So this is what I wanted to touch on a little bit. I'm going to be very careful doing this because a lot of people need to chill a little bit, stay in your lane. Yes. YouTube is for entertainment. Great. Do something entertaining then, but hold on.
I mean, you know how I feel. Come see me on my channel on that one.
Well, right. But here's what I actually want to say. I have a question for you. And then I have a couple things I want to point out about it. Do you think YouTube channels, I don't think the past, try and think now, and I know it's hard because some of us in the past remember this, but do you think they have an effect on gig app workers? Not, is it helping them? Is it hurting them? But do you think that do you think YouTube channels are helping gig workers or hurting them?
Obviously hurting.
So obviously that applies to a handful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to go on a limb here because I can on somebody, because I know that a lot of people, look, a lot of you guys might think, I don't like this person. I don't like that person. I don't like this. That's fine. Click with who you want to. But there are a lot of channels that I've heard a lot of people go, I hate that person. Well, I'm going to bring up one. She is a friend of mine. I don't mind saying any of that up front. I don't care what you guys think. So I love all of you, but I got to be honest here. Look at Kim's side money plans.
Mhm.
She works 80 hours a week. I know this. I've known Kim for many years. She's been out here to Denver for the town hall. She helped us fight for transparency. We've done the roundtable. I know her well. You might not like her content, but she is not lying to you. She's just doing things that you already as a veteran know, and you don't really need to, you're like, I don't need to watch that. That's fine. Maybe you don't even vibe with her. That's fine. But she's not lying to you. There's a big difference. And I wanted to make that clear because I wanted to use somebody who's a friend that I can defend as the good example, because don't throw everybody in, like, you don't have to like any of them, but don't say everybody's evil, because they're not all evil.
Just because you don't like the message, don't shoot the messenger. Some of these messages are real, but you don't like the way it's being presented to you, is what I think you're trying to say. Like you said, Kim, she has an honest message, and some people don't like how they're getting the message, but it's an honest message. At the end of the day, she's not lying to anybody. Some people may say this, they may say that, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but is she lying to you? No.
Right. And I can say I've seen her earnings. I mean, like, if I have an issue with with any food apps, because I'm not on them much. I do B2B and I do catering and other apps. But like when if I have any issue, I call Kim. She always answers right away. I'm like, dude, what do you do here? She's like, seriously, you don't know that? You do this, Steve. God damn it. You know, like, I'm like, okay, like that's how Kim and I are. She's beyond cool, and she always has the answer right away. I'm not saying that, it's going to click with all you. I just wanted to make the point that there's a difference between misleading people even extensively, as opposed to just, I don't like her. And I guess my point is, don't put I don't like somebody in the same category as the misleading people.
It's a great private conversation, but it's not something I would even spout out. If I don't like somebody's personality that has nothing to do with the content's solid, I don't like their personality, don't confuse the two. If they're a bad actor, they're a bad actor. That's one thing. If you don't like the way the message is finding you, remember, they're being honest. You just don't like their personality. Don't confuse the two.
So I will say, yeah, I agree. But I will say this too. I hear you, Anton. But I will say this, that a lot of creators, I can say Kim at least, when she's done with her 10-hour day, again, I just know her this well. When she's done, what does she do? She goes home and she has dinner with her husband and her daughter. She spends time with her daughter. Then she edits the next day's video for an hour and a half. That is actually time she's putting into that. And if she's not lying, I don't have a problem, because YouTube's for entertainment.
You can learn a lot, though.
Right. No, I'm saying, like, a lot of drivers might get on here and, get a lot out of Kim's videos. It's more of a, I would say, I've learned
a lot from Kim. I'm not gonna lie. I learned a lot from Sarah. I've learned a lot from you. I've learned a lot from a lot of people, actually. And if you leave the personality out of it, you might learn something. But when you're 110 going down this negative path of just, wow, what? That's a different animal. Yeah, it's a different animal altogether. It's like, what? It's like, dude, nothing that this person is saying is relatable. And then, like, it doesn't matter how the message is being betrayed. It's the idea of what they're saying. It's like, I don't care if I like you or not. As a matter of fact, I might think you're funny sometimes, but you're going to have to bring it down to a reality that I can relate to and everybody else can relate to before you call out everybody else for not being able to do it right. While you're telling somebody to do it right. It's like, you're not even doing it right. But like, Kim is not that person. Neither is Sarah.
Their
personalities are irrelevant. The message is straight.
Yeah. Again, I guess my point was, there's good channels.
Yeah.
There's bad channels, and there's indifferent channels. They're like, like ones where I'm like, I don't even really know what you're doing, but like, good luck to you. But I'm just saying, like, I hope that some of the channels that have definitely taken a wrong turn over the years decide to straighten that out a bit. I actually try and feel empathy for some of them that,
Sean.
that
Right.
that I do. I try and feel some empathy to the fact that,
No,
like, dude,
I
what are
get
they
it.
going through? But it's hard sometimes when it's just constant. Like, dude, is this it? Is this?
I think what you're trying to, I said I think because I don't know for sure. And we talk privately quite a bit. I think what you're trying to say is there are obviously some content creators that have issues that go beyond gig work. And those content creators might want to possibly consider straightening those issues out before they continue down the path of advice of any kind.
Yeah, I agree. YouTube is just an outlet. Yeah. So, I mean, again, Nova's saying, like, it's just an outlet. And we've seen, I was going to assume we all have, but if you've never seen a Nova video, go watch one. But he just kind of takes you through a shift. I think his videos are usually around 15, 20 minutes, and he's going to just, he's just going to kind of break down the day. It's his way of doing it, but he's telling you about his market. It's, again, be very clear to people. I work in the blank market. We have X amount of people, if you didn't know. In my opinion, don't just blanket stuff out there, because there is no blanket that covers all the markets. Period.
All right, guys, calm down. Bring that stuff to my channel. This ain't the place, but I feel you. Just bring it to my channel. You're all good. Trust me. I appreciate it, but bring it to my channel. I love you.
No, I'm not being specific to anybody.
No, you're not, but the conversation's rolling at this moment.
Yeah, no, I've been around for many years, and a lot of them that are bad actors, let's say,
right,
have just fallen off the map, which is good. They should. Like, that's how it should happen, or at least find your way and try. Just, I don't know. You can't. I feel so bad when people aren't being honest with the community.
That's my whole channel. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's why I told him, bring it to my channel. We can have that conversation over.
But I mean, I do. Like, I heard you in a video saying, like, subscribers, followers, whatever the crap you call them. And I agree with you on that, because it's different on every platform. So what I would say to that is, I don't consider you guys subscribers, followers. I consider us a community.
At the end of the day, that's what this is. Yeah,
it is. And I mean, there's some people who just want to wreck the community for whatever reason. I don't know. But, our community still sticks together. We do. And it's growing. I feel like this is growing more than the old, here's how to put a bag in a door days. People want some real. They want the real that you're putting out. They want to know what the hell's going on with the apps and who's yelling at them. I'm yelling at them every day. Like, I'm on Twitter yelling at them. I'm in groups.
I think that's something that needs to be put on the table to elaborate what you just said, Rodeo. We have the same goal, you and I. We go about in two different ways. You go at the apps. I go at the gig drivers. The gig drivers that deserve me going at them. That's what I do, and you do what you do. But at the end of the day, we want the same thing. We want transparency and some freaking honesty. That's all we're looking to get. And if I see something wrong, I say something. You see something wrong, you say something. Yeah. I don't think we disagree on everything that each other is saying. I think that's pretty obvious. I think that's how we got here.
Yeah. Here, what did I saw Jackie in here? If you've been doing gig work long enough, you can tell the difference between gig tubers. Well, you should be able to tell the difference anyway, because, like, that's Torp, that's me. You should just be able to look and go, that's Torp, that's Steve. It's
work. That's not a lot of work.
I know what you meant, Jackie. I know what you meant.
Yeah, it's like $10 for a mile right there. Yeah. What was your last bullet point anyway? After you get through with your comments, of course. You had another.
Well, it was kind of addressing that, and then it was really about that. It was that I wanted to give an example that people could relate to, because I've seen people speak on it. I've seen people do expose Kim for what?
There's nothing to expose.
Right. I mean, like it would, to me, it would be a promotion. Hey, this is Kim's channel. She
We're
tells
talking
you a
about
lot of the
personalities.
things going on with DoorDash. There.
That's not an exposed when you're talking about a personality. Exposing is exposing content, not a
Right.
personality.
But I guess that was my point, is I just didn't
Yeah.
understand. I was thinking like, is everybody under the assumption that any big channel needs to be exposed? Because I don't believe that. Like,
Thank
again,
God.
you've mentioned your driver, Mike. I never really watched him much. I've watched a couple videos since I've heard you mentioning it. I don't like, I'm not going to watch much videos, but I don't mind him, man.
I think your driver, Mike, is pretty freaking awesome if you want my truth.
Yeah.
I think he's awesome. I don't even care about the editing, which he's really good at. I don't care about it. I like what he talks about because he's bringing up a lot of things that come out before they hit anybody else's channel. I think that's awesome. I do. I like it. Now, the round table is a different animal, but we're not going there. But yeah, I think he's fine. I really do. His content's solid, in my opinion.
No, has a comment here.
I just think it is. I think it's good. Uh-oh. Well, let me read this.
You're right.
Comments are flying fast. Let me read this. Torp is judge and jury and executioner and entitled to his opinion. I respect. Oh, that's nice coming from someone that's actually got a good channel. I like you too. I mean, that's a 110 though. I like you too. I mean, I'm subscribed to you, believe it or not. You probably don't know that, but I am. I have been. It's been a weird couple of years. You feel me? I got nothing bad to say about no. If I did, you guys would have known about it.
So here's what I'm thinking. I wanted to end with though. Like you've even told me, I think you've been on YouTube longer than me. You've been on for a long time before Gig Space and stuff. No, you, Torp.
I've been here
I mean,
since,
just like even before Gig, like you've seen a lot of the things, like, and your channel, even since you started Gig, has changed. You've done this, you've done that. The glitch. I don't mind saying it because guess what, DoorDash user, I tell you guys all the time, man. I tell you guys all the time.
For you. I did. I held back on that. I wasn't going to bring it up.
I say it all the time.
I know you do, but I'm following your lead. I told you about
that. I
wouldn't
wouldn't mind if you showed people a diagram. I don't care. Look, these people, these apps are screwing with you, man. I don't know. So
it's just like I couldn't believe that it became a thing again. That's what, and I found it, I guess, because I was the first one to talk about 2.0, which in my mind proved to me that this was set up by DoorDash itself. Because there's no way you didn't know about this. There's no way,
Jackie. I think it's just a little
know.
different now.
Oh, no, it's totally different. Oh, Jackie, this isn't the way it was. That's why I called it 2.0.
Yeah.
This is not pilot mode.
Yeah.
It's not that. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So
I don't get too far into it because honestly, I don't want them to get rid of it, which I think maybe Rodeo was right about that. I don't think they can get rid of it.
I don't think they care anyway. With all these, I mean, like, dude, DoorDash is aware that one of the live channels on TikTok sells 700 to 1,100 a night. They're on every night. I've found 50 so far. Luis has found more. This is going on who cares if they're selling 1,000 accounts a night? Who cares if you're using a glitch? I mean, like, I'm not saying demeaning it, but I'm just saying it almost makes it like you should be using it.
Well, remember this, folks.
Especially if you live in a market where you need to use this damn app.
Remember this, folks. Even if you're using the glitch, you're still making deliveries. Isn't that the end game for DoorDash?
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, the glitch doesn't protect you from $2 offers. Just a heads up. One example, real quick. One of my favorite restaurants here is known for banger catering orders and banger just regular customers. They're known for it. But a lot of other offers slip through there too on that restaurant. And they're just complete trash. You open it up because you see the name of the restaurant. Open. It's like, decline.
Yeah.
So it's not foolproof, but it does help. Trust me, it helps. Oh God, does it help?
I mean, and again, market to market, man. If you live in a market and all you have is Uber Eats and DoorDash, like I don't. I have like access to, Jackie lives in my market too. We have access to hundreds of apps. Some of them suck real bad. But like, I mean, we live in a bigger city, so we have a lot more apps available to us. Different things we can try. But if you're very limited on which apps you can use, you got to play your market a bit.
Oh, John, go check out my channel. It's real self-explanatory what channels I talk about. I'd appreciate to have you over there if you'd like to come. I'm sure you get a kick out of it. Trust me. I'm not being facetious. I mean, it's pretty clear what I do over there. So if you want to check it out, by all means do so.
Yeah, and I don't want to
to
step on Torp's toes, but I think that if you just go to his channel, you'll instantly get the answers you're looking for.
I think that's what I was trying to say. I think you made it a little bit easier to understand. Yeah. You get the answers you're looking for.
But yeah, guys, listen, that's the start. We could probably do a whole nother one. I just wanted to get something down. I feel like this is a lot of stuff that sometimes gets questioned. And I'm putting it out there because I have factual backing on everything we talked about here tonight. Everything. So if you guys need any factual backing, I can provide that. A lot of channels can't do that.
You got that right.
Be careful. I mean, if you just watch something for entertainment, that's what YouTube is primarily for. So, or at least that's
at the end of the day, it is entertainment. That's why I exist.
Right. And I'm not, again, I know of a few channels that I really think need, they need to think twice maybe, or try and fact check some things and just, get in a better mood.
These end comments are something else, man. Trust me. The moderators keep a close eye on this, man. You need a sniper now through riding the fence. That's all good. Whatever. It's all good.
Anyway, though, you guys check out Torp's channel. I know that, as many of you are over there and over here, and check out Torp's channel. I don't know. I think his channel now, he talks about a lot of the stuff that we did. Like I said earlier, I see Roy in here. What's up, Roy? I see that, Torp was one of the first people to put to get on board with this transparency thing that we have. I love it. Look, I mean, and again, I'll show this to those of you that don't do rideshare. I will show this one more time because I think you need to see it, because they were the last holdout and they waited until Uber got their ass handed to them in that court suit. And here it is now. They weren't trying to do it, but here it is. Oh, and I'll zoom in. This is Colorado. Boom. 100% transparency after the trip. 100% transparency on your pay and distance before the trip. We have transparency in this state. We do not have hourly. Hourly wrecks all this. I've talked about it enough times that we shouldn't have to get into that. But we do have the full transparency.
I'm just glad that you paid attention in class, Rodeo, before you did this great live stream and all the work you've done in the past. You decided to do all of it without a booger in your nose.
Yeah, no. I don't know. Why would I do that?
I don't know. Some people find it a thing to do. I don't
know. But you guys, thank you everybody for joining. Listen, we're just shooting the shit, but I think these were a lot of things that we've hit on topics. I know I tried to do my best tonight on things that I've been talking about that Torp has started talking about too. So there's a lot of relevance to a lot of this, and it just puts a lot of it in place, or it should for all of you. So, and again, if you have any questions, look, it's small, but I don't hide it. Steve@ridesharerodeo.com. You email me. I love comments on the videos, but if you want to keep it private, email me. Just all I got to say, guys, is I will take the time and fully respond to everything you ask. But if you attack me or attack my friends or people I know or the community at whole or whatever, or if you're just outlandishly rude, I'm going to block you, even an email. You're going to be blocked because I'm not going to respond to that crap.
Respect,
so just
Nova.
act professional.
Thanks, Nova.
Yeah. So
no, that was a 110.
Yeah, I just thought so.
Yeah. All good. Yeah, absolutely.
But everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and maybe we'll do this again sometime.
It'd be cool. I'm down with that.
That'd be cool. So
Yeah.
you guys, we're out of here. Have a great night. Check out Torp's channel. I don't need to really plug any more than that. But if you
wait a
are
minute. I have my
if
own
you
live
are on
going.
but wait, if you are on the audio podcast, it is at
Mhm.
Torp. That's simply that. If you search at Torp in the search bar of YouTube, you will find his channel, and it will also be below.
And don't forget to check out Rideshare Rodeo for those of you on mine, if you don't already know who he is. Which I
Yeah,
can't
guys,
imagine.
like, I mean, listen, like the community is growing, and a lot of people are asking a lot of good questions. I love it. So thank
That's
you,
where
everybody.
I
Be
want it.
safe, earn smart, be good to each other, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Torp out. Great life.